All praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kwadash, for allowing me to do another lesson. Yahweh is who the world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and there's no God beside them. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for being faithful witnesses to the Holy Spirit, and salutations to the elect whom the Lord have given ears to hear. And I'm not exactly sure what I want to name this video, but I want to highlight a couple of other videos that caught my attention. So we see what's going on in the world. Some of us, brothers and sisters, are en route to lose, our so-called comforts, be it a job, steady paycheck, and then further on to your homes and so on and so forth. It's very important to know that, so that we won't get shocked when it happens. We know, or we must know, that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is a God of balance, right? So the Lord is preparing provisions on this side, all right? And not only provisions on this side, but provisions on the next side, right? So first and foremost, I want to play the elder brother Zionala out of the DC camp. His video is called "Keep in Mind, Prepare Your Minds. Things are only going to get worse." Things are only going to get worse. All right, and hey, some brothers and sisters right now are affected by the government shutdown, being furloughed, laid off, and so on and so forth. But something that we should have already known, as even the elder apostle Gabar, he pointed out one time, it really stuck with me. He said nothing stays the same. All right, and it's actually scriptural where it says there's a time and a purpose under the heavens. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, he appointed a time for this devil to thrive and a time for this devil to fall. And we are in the time for this devil to fall. And as he rules over us, what else is going to fall? Our lives under him. Right? But remember, this is not our rest. The Lord specifically told us to be as pilgrims. Let me grab that one. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16. And 40. Let's start at 39. 37, Salakia. Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack. Okay? And this is how we know we're in the end, the very end. Because the plagues are coming in. Signs in the heavens, damn near every month. There's a new, highlighted full moon. All right? There's a new earthquake in a never before seen place before. Like the scriptures say, earthquakes in diverse places. All right, fish, birds, are flying various strange paths. Fish, are moving strangely, just the animals themselves. The love of many is waxing cold. So there's signs. The Lord is showing these signs. All right, remember, Yahweh Shai explained these would be the various signs concerning the end of the world, which that word world meaning rulership. So the end of this rulership, all right, signs would encompass it. As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb. Which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. So, when you liken those great pains into the earth today, you had, let's say back in 2015, 2014, things would happen, but it was more of a sporadic. Whereas now, damn near every day something is happening. All right? So we are within seconds of Yahweh Shai's return, because this is pretty much talking about Yahweh Shai's return. All right, there's going to be a lot of pains, at the return of Yahweh Shai, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. That's why Yahweh Shai himself said, "What will I? Shall it be fire in the earth when he comes?" He said, "What will he if it already be kindled? Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side." And the world's been mourning for a while, but even more so that America is mourning, because America is a large, vast economy that I say has its tentacles in other economies. So as this place is falling, these other economies, it's going to fall with it. Remember in book of Revelation 17, how these other nations, they had a mind pretty much to be in allegiance with this whore. Right? So as this American dollar falls, their currency is going to fall as well. As the people do bad over here, the people in their land is going to do even worse where they at. So the world is definitely mourning right now. Over here in America, they're rioting. Over there in Britain, they're rioting. And I'm sure all across the earth. It says, "O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth." Now, real quick, what does So it says the word pilgrim has both a literal and symbolic meaning depending on the context. It says a pilgrim is a person who travels to a sacred place for religious reasons. In many faiths, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, etc., a pilgrim is someone who undertakes a journey of faith, often to a holy site or as a symbol of spiritual devotion and transformation. All right? Let's look at this part, a broader and metaphorical meaning. A pilgrim is also anyone who is on a journey, not just physical, but emotionally or spiritually. Right? So this is how we prepare in our minds, emotionally. And how do we prepare our emotions? Through engaging with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, through praying, fasting, reading, constantly doing those things, constantly praying, constantly reading. It implies not yet being home or seeking something greater. So it says, Salakia, it says, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Then it explains, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he that have no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth as if he shall not reap, so also he that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. And like it also says in Hebrews, chapter 13, 12. Salakia, give me a second. 14. For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. And with that, I want to segue. Oh, before I segue into the next brother's video, GMS dedication, I want to highlight another thing the elder brother said, which is how we should pray more for one another. You know? And we have to be mindful of how we move as these days get darker, meaning, you know, spending your money more wisely. You know, have a mind to help more. All right. Hey, you may have to start cutting off a bill because another brother needs help. You know, we all we got. And with that being said, I want to highlight this brother's video. This the elder brother Shaquat out of Mississippi. Says NASA confirms 6,000 more exoplanets that is specially reserved for the elect. So now this is right on time, because again, when we go into that word pilgrim, it says it implies not yet being home or seeking something greater. Right? So yeah, you might lose your apartment, your little house, but we're gonna go from not being able to afford a fucking 600 square foot apartment to having a planet. Right? And I put on the elder brother's comment board Romans 8:18 in the easy English, where it says let me just grab it. I'm gonna grab it in the KJV and then we'll get it in the easy English. For I reckon, let me start at verse 17. And if children, then heirs of God, and joint heirs with Yahushua. If so, all right, so we only joint heirs if we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. Right? Because somehow, some way, shape, and form, they're going to blame the downfall of this place on us. Right? On us and what we preach, which we preach Yahushua. Right? So we about to suffer for Yahushua. Right? But guess what? No matter how much they come down on us, what we say will come to pass, because we serve the God of truth, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that which shall be revealed in us. All right? And you know, when I think about, you know, the brother's lesson here, I think about, like, say for example, you at let's say some type of seminar or something like that, and you know, 2-3 hours in, you listening, you learning this, that, and the third, And, it's announced that, provisions, they're going to give you a little timeout, and provisions are being prepared for you in the back. And, I know me, I like to eat. So my mind starts to think about the food, So I like in this, the Lord's showing us what we're going to receive. All right. It's like a relief, Yeah, we got to go through what we got to go through, but we know there's provisions waiting for us. Those exoplanets, when you look up the word exoplanets, it goes into planets that are outside of our solar system. Even Esau calls it space. Right? So, here it is. We're going through what we're going through. But, hey, the Lord is showing us that he got, hey, like the scriptures say, he prepared for table. The Lord is showing us that. Let me grab that one. Because you prepare a table for your guests, that means that you know what they're going to like. This is a good one. Psalms 23:5. So it says, thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. So here it is, NASA, which is ran by our enemies. All right. I forgot what it stands for, but we could easily look it up. Let's see. So it says NASA stands for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which is the U.S. government agency responsible for the nation's civilian space program. Right? So, hey, that goes directly what we're reading about. Thou prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemy. So that word table, as a matter of fact, this is private use, sacred uses. All right? And, hey, only we're going to be able to go out there. That's actually scriptural when you're going to what's Psalms 115. But I had asked the chat, why did Yahushua tell his disciples that in his father's house were many mansions? Yahushua told his disciples, in my father's house are many mansions, to comfort and reassure them during a time of fear and uncertainty. So that's the time we're coming into. Time of great fear. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. Which also proves that Yahweh and Yahushua are two separate people. In my father's house are many mansions. All right. And we go into Acts, what's that, 17? Heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool. Right. So a throne is what? Where king is a room in which a king sits at. So essentially, the heavens I would say the heavens is the Lord's house, outer space. All right. And various ornaments in his house, if you could liken it to that, are like different planets. The Lord said earth is his footstool. So the footstool is one piece of furniture out of a whole set. You got the couch, you got the pillows, if you liken it, if you think about it like that. But it says, in my father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, ye may be also. Right? So, again, The Lord brought this out because this is comforting in time of troubles, in troubling times. Yahushua had just told the disciples that he was going away, referring to his coming death and departure from the world. They were confused and distressed. These words were meant to calm their fears. Let not your heart be troubled. It says the Father's house refers to heaven, outer space, God's eternal dwelling, the many mansions or rooms, the dwelling places in other translations. Emphasizes that there is plenty of room for all believers and each has a prepared place. Right? So they don't understand, this world doesn't understand what that truly means. The scriptures say that in the Lord's scriptures say that there's pleasures evermore. I know it's in the book of Psalms. I just can't exactly remember where it's at. It says he was assuring them that his departure wasn't abandonment. It was purposeful. He was going ahead to prepare a place for them with the promise that they would be with him again. It says the word mansions, Greek monē, meaning dwelling places or abodes, was a powerful image in that culture, evoking a sense of permanence, security, and welcome. Okay. So yeah. We're going to do something before we head out. But I realized that I did not bring that Romans 8 and 18 out in the easy English. So this is Romans 8 and 18. God has prepared great things for his people, the elect. All right. And ultimately for all of Israel. All right. But right now it's for the elect, who is going to make on the first go around. We have troubles during this time now. We have troubles and pain. Let me start at 17, right? It says, and because we are God's children, we will also receive good things from him. We will receive the things that God had prepared for his children. Also, together with Yahushua, we will receive the things that God has kept for him. We will receive these things if we agree to have troubles and pains as Yahushua did. So then as a result, we will also live always with God, who is so great and so good. During this time now, we have troubles and pain. But I am sure that these troubles are not really very important. They are not really important because God has prepared much, much better things for us. He is keeping these great and good things for us. And when we think about these great things, our troubles now do not seem important. All things that God has made are waiting for a future time. They want that time to come very much. At that time, God will show them who his sons really are. So that's beautiful, man. That's that just made my day. Let me grab this one because it brought me in mind of this. This is Isaiah 60 and 20. Let me start at 18. This is talking about the kingdom. You will not hear in your country the noise that cruel people make. Nobody will break or destroy anything inside the edges of your country, and you will call your walls a safe place, and you will call your gates praise. The sun will not give you light in the day again, neither will the moon shine bright on you, but instead Yahweh will always be your light and your guide, and your God will be your glory. Your sun will never go down again, and your moon will never disappear. Right? So essentially, verse 19 is talking about wisdom. Right? We're going to have that glow on us, man. And then in verse 20, this is physically talking about the sun. Your sun will never go down and your moon will never disappear. That is because Yahweh will always be your light. Then your sad days will have an end. Right? So this is why we need the Lord to come back. So the Lord is not going to come back until all things are fulfilled, including World War III. All right? Which is a terrible, terrible, terrible time. The scriptures say the earth is going to reel to and fro. Buildings are going to fall. people, a mass, well, hell, world wars bring the most death. And that's what we're entering into. So we need these things to happen. All right. And we need A to happen for B to happen. Your sun will never go down again, and your moon will never disappear. That is because the Lord will always be your light. All right, we read that. Then your sad days will have an end. Then all your people will be righteous, and they will always have the land. They will be like a small plant that I have planted. They will be the work that my hands have made. They will show that I am beautiful. Right? This all goes to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, by the way. The least person will become 1,000 people, and the smallest person will become a strong country. So we're going to increase, you know, and even the least among our people is going to be, whew, man, the beauty that they're going to have, you know, polygamy, that's going to, like right now, that seems like a big thing. That's going to be the smallest thing in the kingdom, polygamy, you know. We're going to be safe, you know, no worries. You know, when you safe, there's no more pain. Hey, Revelation 21, right? The least person will become 1,000 people, and the smallest person will become a strong country. You know, I don't have any children on this side, but I would love to. I mean, it's not really expedient with all that's going on. So that's something I look forward to. It says, and the smallest person will become a strong country. I'm Yahweh. When it happens, I will do it quickly. Hey, so if that, I hope and pray that you Akima Akwakwa edified. Shalom to the elect.